time, I say welcome. Don't forget to subscribe. This is one of many of the live sessions that I'm gonna host, sharing with you my life story. It's a long story, but very exciting. It's got a lot of exciting moments where you're going to be entertained. Some of the moments are very stressful. You're going to feel very stressed because you'll be feeling sorry for me when you see the experiences that I had to go through when I went on this journey going to South Africa. You must remember my parents weren't told that I was leaving, so my parents weren't even aware of what was going on with their son and where he was going. But I'm sure my brother told them a few days later that I had left and I was traveling to South Africa. So I'm sure they were very worried about what was going to happen to their son, leaving, going to South Africa on his own at a very young age. And I'm sure my father was very surprised because he didn't expect that I would make such a kind of a decision or such kind of a move. Yeah, but I was brave enough and I had made up my mind and I knew where I was going. I had set my goals. I really wanted my life to be better than what I was visioning, the visions that I had about my life if I had not left Malawi. So at my back of my mind, I felt like if I move out of the country, that was going to actually be much, much better than staying. So here I was at the border of Zambia in this truck, and this truck driver, besides me, myself, we had another 3 people that he had also given a lift in his truck. So all of us had to pay him for him to take us to South Africa. As we were traveling along the way, we started getting acquainted to each other. I asked these guys where they were coming from, and these guys were coming from the village. Most of them, they were coming from the northern part of Malawi. So they were telling me they had some friends. The other one was saying he had a relative in South Africa, so he was going to go and visit his relative. The other 2 were just going to visit their friends. But it was their first time to go to South Africa. At least myself, it was not the first time, it was the second time. Remember, my father had bought a ticket for me to go to South Africa after I had passed my high school education. So I had at least a vivid idea or vivid memory of how South Africa looked like, Johannesburg looked like. But at this time around, when I was there in South Africa, I had gone there by air. So the family I was living with had to collect me from the airport. And then I stayed with them in this area, Sandton. That's where we were staying. So when we used to travel to go to town, their son would take me if needed. We used to get a public transport. We go to town and then we move around in Johannesburg, me doing some shopping. And also we visited a friend of ours who was also living there in Johannesburg. I mentioned his name in the previous video. So at least I had an idea. And I had memorized some of the big streets that we have in Johannesburg, like Rissik Street, Loveday Street, Market Street, Vomaland Street. So I knew how to, if I arrived there, as long as I find one of those streets, I knew that I would be able to find my way, because there was a time when we went to town to visit, and this young man where I was staying, he took me to Park Station. So I was able to know where the Park Station was, even though it was like a 1-week stay in Johannesburg. So we were traveling. We passed Zambia, then we entered into Zimbabwe. But we passed through the border in Zimbabwe. I couldn't see the Victoria Falls because we passed there in the night. So I had no idea how the Victoria Falls was looking like. The only thing that I can remember now at that time is that when we traveled, we passed and met a lot of wild animals. We met lions on the road because we were passing that road in the night. So we met lions, we saw elephants, and it was very amazing. And it was a long, long trip. It took us, I think, if I'm not mistaken, almost 4 to 5 days to arrive at the border in South Africa. So we arrived at the border in South Africa, and my passport was stamped. At that time, I can't remember, I must have been given about 14 days to stay in South Africa. But I didn't worry because I knew that this trip I was going into South Africa, I was not going to come back soon because I was going to go there, look for greener pastures, take any job that I was going to get. So, yeah, my excitement, I didn't worry about getting 14 days at the border. I didn't worry about that my days might expire while I was there. I never worried about that. In my mind, there was only one thing. I need to go to South Africa. I need to phone this man when I arrive there. I need to go to his place and start working for him. So I didn't even know what kind of a job he was going to give me. I never cared. All I needed was just to go there in South Africa, get myself a job and start working there. And then maybe save some money so that I can be able to come back one day in Malawi, maybe start a business for myself. So that was all I had thinking about at the back of my head. So as we were traveling, going to South Africa, we stopped along the way. I discovered that, you can also buy pap. In Malawi, we call it tisima. And there, the pap and the steak, it was very tender. It was very nice to buy pap in South Africa. We stopped in so many, because as you know, we were driving through with a truck, and then it drives very slow. It has to stop. You have many stops, and the driver sometimes will just stop and say, "I'm tired." And then we will all sleep in the truck. The truck driver would sleep at the back there. He had a bed for him, but we ourselves were just sitting on the seat there and just sleep there. It was a very tiring, long trip, but I never felt anything or even complain about it because I was already fired up, motivated, just thinking in my head, what will life be like when I'm in South Africa? Am I going to stay here forever? Will I ever be able to go back to my country? Or will I maybe find a woman in South Africa and get married and live in South Africa forever and ever after? So that was always what was in my mind. I never cared about the pain, the suffering that I was having as I was going there. So eventually we started getting closer to Johannesburg. And then the driver started telling us, where are you guys going? So each one of us was showing him the contacts that we had. And then he said, okay, the one thing that you should do is when I drop you, I'll drop you off. And then you should go to a public phone and then you call the people. But unfortunately, because I'm driving a truck, I'm not going to be able to drop you in town. I'll just drop you. He dropped us somewhere. He said he wasn't going to be able to go to Johannesburg. So he dropped us somewhere. And at that place, he put us in a taxi. In South Africa, they called them taxi. It was a minibus. And when we got in the taxi, I'm telling you, it was very nerve-wracking because we got in the taxi. And then I remember that last time when I was in South Africa, the taxis were not operating in the same manner that the taxis were operating in Malawi, whereby you had somebody we call a conductor in the taxi. But the taxis in South Africa, they have no conductor. So I remember the last time when I was there with this young man from the family that I stayed, we got in the taxi and everybody in the taxi, there was no talking. Everybody would just pull out their money. The people at the back seat, there will be one of the persons collecting money for everybody from the back seat, and they will give each other change. And they will just send the money straight to the driver, and then they'll just shout back seat, or they'll say maybe second seat or whatever. So I remember this. And what happened with us is when we got in the taxi, we didn't sit together. Then I felt like, my friends, they had never gone to South Africa before. So I took my money. I asked how much it is to travel where we're going. And then they told us, and so I just took a 20 rand and then I paid. I didn't even ask for change because I was so nervous. I never got my change. The person who was sitting next to us just took the money, sent it to the driver. I don't know if the person got the change or whatsoever, but because they actually knew that we were strangers, because then I had to give the money and told them who was traveling with me, and I pointed at the other 3 people that were traveling with me. So then we arrived at the bus depot. When we stopped there, now I had to start thinking and say, the only thing that I need now is, I told these guys, because they had never traveled, and I told them, I said, this place is very dangerous. When I was here last time, I was attacked. So we have to be careful. We can't just ask anybody. Then the only place we can ask is to go in a shop. And then we can't just go in any shop. We must see who is in the shop, maybe look and if there's an Indian shop or a white person whatsoever, we should go there. But I was like thinking, is this the Park Station? Because the place, yes, it looked like a trading center. There was big buildings and everything, but it never looked the same as Park Station. But I was thinking that maybe we've just landed at a certain side of Park Station. So I said to my friends, I said, okay, let's go in that shop and ask. So we went in the shop and we find an Indian guy there, and they said, I know, we wanted to know how we can get to Park Station. And the person was like, what? We said, we want to go to Park Station. He said, but this is not Park Station. I said, what is this place? He said, no, you are in Alexander. So I was very nervous. The place looked well developed. The bus depot was like, there was tall buildings. To me, the impression that I always had was like Alexander is a location. So they won't have tall buildings like the way it was looking. So I was like, I thought that we had arrived, and the person said, no, you need to get into another taxi, which will take you now into Johannesburg. And then we asked where we should get the taxi. So they told us. So I told the guys, follow me. And they followed me. We found another taxi. We got in the taxi. We asked how much it is. Again, paying without asking change. So we drove and we started going to Johannesburg. When we arrived in Johannesburg, and then people, when the minibus was getting it was not going to stop at the Park Station. And I don't know whether the minibus was going to stop, but me, I was just looking at the window and saying, I want to see the street that I remember. And once I see that street, we're getting out. Then I saw one of the streets. I don't know whether it was Loveday Street or Risk Street, but it was a street that was familiar. And when the minibus stopped and people were getting out, I just told my friends, let's get out. And we got out. So we didn't want to attract any attention so that people would know that we are foreigners, we don't know where we're going, so we got out. So when we got out, I told the guys, I said, guys, the only thing I remember is that in this street where we are, if we go down this road, it should take us to Park Station. Because I came on the street, and then I came to a place where it was at a junction to meet the other street that I was also familiar with. And we came to the street. I knew that if we go down, we just walk down, we will be able to get to Park Station. So I said, this place is very dangerous. We should not walk in a way like we are strangers. So don't be a person that is walking around and just looking everywhere here and there. All you have to do is just keep on following me. And you have to be always close to me. And we can't walk. We have to walk very fast. So what I was doing was, when we are walking in the street, we came to an intersection where there's robots. Here in Malawi, we call them robots. Or in South Africa, they will call them traffic lights. When we come to the traffic lights, I always wanted to know if we are being followed. So what I would do is, we will cross the traffic the intersection. We come to the other side, and then we cross this way. And as we are crossing this way, I'm looking at somebody, if there's anybody who walked with us across the road. Then we go this way. I want to see if there's somebody who's going to walk with us. And then we come back to this side, and then come this way, and then go back again. Then I'm sure nobody's following us, and then we start going on our way. So we started walking. Now we came to an intersection where there was a lot of cars passing by, and there was a lot of people standing. And these Malawian friends of mine, they are with me, standing next to me. I'm telling them, please make sure you are close to me. And then we crossed that road. When we got to the other side, I looked back, we had lost one guy. I felt very, very, very sad that we lost a guy. We started looking, I asked the guys, where's the other guy? They said, we don't know. We checked behind us, the guy was no longer nowhere to be seen. I said, okay, let's go back and maybe check. Maybe he stood somewhere and he's looking for us. We went back, we never found the guy. So I told them, I said, we have lost that guy. And the way Johannesburg is, we came in the morning when it's like business time, it's full of people. We will never be able to get that guy again. So let's just go. So we left, we arrived at Park Station. Then when we were at the Park Station, because I knew that to be inside the Park Station is going to be like safe for us. So we got inside, and I started asking the guys, now take your phones, start calling your family relatives. So they started calling, and I called that white person, and then he told me, he said, Ted, where are you? I said, I'm at Park Station. He said, are you in South Africa? I said, yes. He said, well done. Thank you very much for coming, Ted. No, you know what? I don't live in Johannesburg. I live in Plettenberg Bay. So I said, where is Plettenberg Bay? He said, no, Plettenberg Bay is another road on the other side of South Africa, in the south. It's on the road that goes to Durban. I said, wow. So I said, how can I get there? He said, no, I'll see if I can find somebody to come and get you there. But right now, what you should do is go out of the Park Station and go to Braamfontein. In Braamfontein, there is a place called Young Men's Christian Association, YMCA, Young Men Christian Association, YMCA. Go there, and then you book yourself in, and you wait for me there. So I told these guys, I said, we are going separate ways. Me now, I have to go. I'm going to YMCA. I must go there. This person I want to meet says I can wait for him there. So I left these guys. I went to YMCA. When I arrived there, I found out it's like a hotel, and there's dormitories where you sleep, group dormitories, double bunks. You choose a place where you sleep, and there's a lot of people there. So I went to take myself a shower, pack my things there, and I went into the lobby. I sat there and relaxing. So there was a guy, a colored guy. That time I remember he called me, he said his name was Roland. So he started chatting with me. He said, where are you from? I said, no, I'm from Malawi. So where are you going? I said, no, I'm going to Plettenberg Bay. He said, have you ever been to Plettenberg Bay? I said, I've never been to Plettenberg Bay. And he said, no, it's a nice place. It's very quiet and all the stuff. And the people there, they're lovely. You're going to enjoy. What are you going to do there? I said, no, I'm going to meet somebody, a friend of mine that I met in Malawi. He said, okay, fine. Now, sat in that place. I think it was like 2 days I was waiting there. But that evening, I said, it's dark. Let me just go outside the lobby. So I go outside the lobby. I see it's like 8 o'clock to 9. The street is so busy. People are just up and down, up and down. I said, let me take a walk. So I go outside there. I'm in the street. I start walking. So I see the shops are open. I go in one of the shops. I go and buy fish and chips in there. I buy myself that big Coca-Cola bottle. First time to see that big, massive bottle. I buy the 1.5 bottle of Coca-Cola. I buy that one. Then I'm walking in the streets. Then after that, I walked a long distance because I felt very safe because there was like a lot of people, and for me it was safe because how can somebody do something to me while there's places so busy like this? So, but I saw in the streets there was a lot of prostitutes standing in there, and I said, wow. Coming back to the hotel, Young Men's Christian Association, YMCA, I came in the lobby. Then the moment I walked in, I found Roland sitting in there, and he said, oh, Ted, where did you go? I said, no, I just went outside. I took this direction. I was just walking. I went to the shop. He said, my friend, do you know where you are going? I said, no, I don't know. He said, you were walking in Hillbrow, my friend. I said, what is Hillbrow? He said, my friend, Hillbrow is a very dangerous place, my friend. You must never do something like that again. You can't walk in the night like that and you don't know the place. That was Hillbrow, my friend. Be careful. And he was shouting at me. I said, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. You must never do something like that. You can get in big trouble, my friend. So I learned that, I must not be careless in South Africa. I mustn't always feel so safe wherever I'm going and walking around. I must be aware where I'm going. So the next day, Dan called the hotel. I just said, Ted, there's somebody's calling you. I went to speak on the phone. I said, Ted, it's Dan. Yo, Ted, I'm sorry. The guy that was supposed to come there in Johannesburg is not coming anymore. So do you have any money with you? I said, yes, I have money. He said, you must go to Park Station. You must take a train that is going to, I think it was George or Neisner. So I said, I must take a train going to George or Neisner. I said, yes. I said, okay, fine. So I told Roland, I said, my friend, this man says now I must go to, I must follow him to George and Neisner. I must go to Park Station. He said, okay, fine. I will escort you. So he escorted me to the station. I bought myself a ticket and then started waiting for the train to start off. I can't remember whether it started at night or what, but yeah, I got in that train. And it was a very, 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 very long trip. I was sitting in that train, always looking through the window. Where am I going? seeing so many tall buildings, and I see there's places where there's mines and everything. But suddenly the environment just changed. I saw that this place is looking, there's no more big buildings anymore. It's like I'm going into like some kind of, I don't know where I was going. And I don't know how many days we traveled, whether it was 24 hours. I remember that we slept in the train, and it was the journey was just going and going and going and going. But suddenly I just really discovered that the train, there's no longer black people. There are not many black people in the train. And it's now colored people coming in there. And it's plenty of colored people. And they're speaking a very strange language. What's a hot and hot and all those kind of things. And me, I can't understand what they're saying. And these people were very cheerful. They're drinking their alcohol. Some of them are coming in the train with the music system. They listen. And that was the time when there was those kind of house music, break dance music. They're listening to this music and all this thing. I said, wow, who are these people? One thing I noticed about these people, they didn't have teeth in front of them. I said, what kind of alien place am I where I'm just finding people who are very strange? They got no teeth on them. Every time they're smiling, there's no teeth there. I said, wow, women and men, no teeth. I said, who are these people? So I was traveling, and then I started speaking to guys and told them I'm going to Neisner, So they said, okay, fine. So I had to jump off. I think Neisner and George, I don't know which comes first. It's either George comes first or Neisner comes first, but then that's where the train had to stop there. And then I jumped off that place. And then the place was just full of colored people. I said, wow, this is interesting. And it made me feel like I'm not in Africa anymore, because the people to me, they looked very, very strange. And then I asked people around there and got myself a public phone. And then I called Dan and I said, I'm now here at the station. He said, okay, you need to get to in a taxi, and it is going to drop you at a place, I think it was called Neisner, if I'm not mistaken. There at Neisner, you're also going to get another taxi that's going to take you to Plettenberg Bay. So I did that, and then I arrived Plettenberg Bay. I jumped off at Plettenberg Bay. I called him. I said, I have arrived. He said, okay, where are you? I told him I'm at the garage. He said, no, I'll come and pick you up. So he came to pick me up, and then he dropped me at a sister's house. And the sister had a small cottage, a caravan. So he put me in the caravan. He said, Ted, we don't have a proper place for you. You can be living in the caravan. My sister Gwen, she stays here with her husband, so they will look after you. Tomorrow morning, I'll come and get you. We go to the business, to the shop. I said, no problem. So I slept in the caravan. The next morning, he came to pick me up and drop me to his shop. So he was having a shop in Plettenberg Bay. It was called the Bundu shop. I don't know if the shop is still there. I would like to make a trip one day to go to Plettenberg Bay and look for these people and see if the shop is still there. So we went to the shop, Bundu shop. I arrived there at the Bundu shop, and then to my surprise, I found out there's a Malawian guy there. He was busy sandpapering some of the ornaments that were broken and stuff like that. So Dan said, Ted, here's your friend Charles. He's also from Malawi. So I greeted him. I said, Charles, how are you? He said, I'm fine. I said, what are you doing here? He said, no, they took me from Malawi. I used to work there as a Boribori, PTC. So I'm here. And then I must be repairing their broken ornaments and stuff like that. So we became friends, me and Charles. So Dan said, Ted, I need to show you what you'll be doing here. So he took me in the shop and he said, no, in this shop, I want you to be helping us to sell ornaments. So you will be in charge to make sure that the ornaments here, it was a curio shop. They are cleaned, and also you sell to the people and all those kinds of things. I say, wow, good, that's fine. He says, no, we're going to, with my wife tonight, we're going to have a chat with you, and then we can discuss how much we can be paying you and all those kinds of things. I said, great, that's good. Now I started living in Plettenberg Bay, starting working with Charles. So every now and then I go in town, take a walk there and come back. Now this shop had 2 Zulu guys, and these Zulu guys, they gave them a kumbi. It was a Toyota Hiace. They gave him a kumbi, a minibus, but it didn't have seats. It was just like a van. So they used to load every morning their ornaments. They used to go to the T junction somewhere on the road, on the highway, to sell the ornaments, set up their store to sell and stuff like that. So Dan said to me, Ted, those guys, they go to the field, but you must know, me and them, we have got our own deal. Me and you, we have our own deal. So you, whatever agreement I have with them, it doesn't concern you. I said, no, it doesn't have concern me. I don't worry. So Charles, then these guys were staying in the building at the shop there at the back. There was a little wooden house. In South Africa, they call them bungalow. There was a bungalow where they were staying, and they had their wives, both of them, and they had kids. They were staying there at the back. And Charles, he was put in a tent. They built a tent where Charles was staying. So me, every evening, when I finished working, they took me in the car to his sister's house. I sleep in my caravan. And that house was closer to the city. So what I used to do when I'm off, then I would take a walk, start walking. And Plettenberg Bay was a very small town. I don't know now if it's a big town. And there was a big hotel there. I think it was called Golden something. Very nice. It's Golden Beach or whatever. But it's a very, very beautiful hotel. So then I said, no, I need to get along with the people in the location. So I started going by the taxi rank. I chat with the guys, the petrol attendants, and these petrol attendants say, "Oh no, my friend, you can take a walk. There's a squatter camp there. It's called Boscheskloof." So I said, Boscheskloof. I said, yeah. I said, is it a very rough place? They said, no, it's a very friendly people there. And then I went there. Boscheskloof, just took a walk there. I found there's a squatter camp. There's a lot of people. And wow, I see there's black people there. I said, hey, I thought this place, they don't have black people. So I started making friends there. So I made friends with some girls there. There was a girl called Pamela there, and there was another girl called Nomtandazo, and we were friends with some guys there also. So every time I'm off, I would go there and have a chat with them. In the meantime, time is going. I remember there was a time when my 14 days expired, and then Dan said, no, Ted, we need to go to the Home Affairs. But Plettenberg doesn't have Home Affairs. I must take you to, I think it was either Neisner. We went there to have my passport stamped. So my passport got stamped. Now, Charles started telling me, he said, hey, my friend, this man is very difficult. The way he treats me, he doesn't treat me well and stuff like that and all these kind of things. So every weekend, Fridays, he used to pay me some money, but it was not a lot of money. It was, some upkeep or whatsoever. So I felt like this money, I can't be able to do anything with this money. Yes, I don't pay rent. The food is not so expensive, but I need to find a way that, this money, I can, multiply it. So I started making friends with those Zulu guys. I told them, I said, guys, what we can do here, we can be putting money together and buy food, and then we can eat together so that we can be able to save money. And they said, but that's a great idea. So we started saving money. So I used to contribute, Charles will contribute, and those guys will contribute, and their wives will cook, and then we eat. Now, then one day when these guys went, that day, I don't know what happened, they came so early, and they realized that me and those guys, we were very, very friendly with one another. So this guy, and then he did some investigation. Those guys started telling him, this guy, the new guy, looks like he's a very smart guy. Now we're able to save our money because we put food together and stuff like that. So Danny started thinking, this guy is now going to cause problems here because now it looks like he's very, very smart. And Danny knew. He found me working as a clerk. I was not somebody that was like just you pick up somewhere. So he found me as a clerk. So one day he called me and Charles and he said, guys, it's not good that you must be associating with those guys. Those guys are South African, you are Malawian, don't mix with them and do other stuff. I don't want any trouble and stuff like that. So please, I want you to keep a distance. And then when he was gone, I said, Charles, what's going on? He said, I don't know, because he doesn't want us to mingle with those guys. So it was difficult for us to avoid those guys, because now me, I know we don't have any problem. We are living together without any problem, no issues. So we continued mingling with them. And then he realized that no, now maybe he thought I made a mistake to bring this guy, because when Charles was alone, he was not associating a lot with those girls. At the other time, Charles had found a girlfriend from the location. She used to come and visit him a lot. So he was spending more time with that girl and not mixing a lot with these guys. But when I came, there was now something like a connection or network between all of us there. So Dan was not happy with this idea. So one day, Dan just came to work and he just said, Ted, come here. And I came and he said, from now onwards, you're no longer going to work in the shop. You and Charles, you'll be going to the hotel. So the hotel had a very nice beach. I can't remember this hotel, but it's a very popular hotel. If you can Google hotel in Plettenberg Bay, you will see that it's a it's a well, nice, advanced, I think maybe 5-star hotel. And it has got a very good, beautiful beach. So he said, I want you to be going to the beach. You'll be taking mats. So he had bought some mikeka from Malawi. You know, he was calling them mats. He was calling them beach mats. So he bought those, he gave us those mats to take to the beach to sell them. So every morning he would put us in the car, take us to the beach. Then he says, Ted, I want you to be selling not less than 5 mats a day. So I said, you know, how we haven't sold this mats. He said, I'm telling you, you must never sell less than 5 mats a day. So I said, okay, fine. So we arrived at the beach. Then when we arrived, we put our mats, we just roll them up, and then we had some of them stuck next to us. And we found that there was a lot of white people there. They got bath towels, they're laying on the beach. And it was the first time me to be at the beach. I had never even been to the beach in Malawi. I had never been to the lake in Malawi. So the biggest mass of water that I saw was the Indian Ocean. I don't know if it's Indian Ocean there in Plettenberg Bay. And then there's a lot of people have put mats and they're lying. So we're trying to sell our mats, and the mats are not doing well, are not selling. When we go when in the evening he comes, he says, how many mats you've sold? We sold 1. Enjoying being at the beach. So he says, if you don't sell the mats, I'm going to take you off the beach. You are no longer going to go there and sell the mats. So I said, Charles, I think I've got a plan. He says, what plan do you have? I said, no, let's buy some new bath towels. So we bought bath towels. Charles had his own bath towels. I had my own bath towels. We bought ourselves shorts, you know, like beach shorts for us to walk on the beach. And then Dan takes us to the beach. We change our clothes. We are in shorts. And then we roll our mats. And then we take the bath towels we put on top of the mats. And we lie on the mats with our hands on the back like this. And like we are relaxing. Now the white people, they come, they see, they say, wow, these guys, they got nice mats with a bath towel on top of them. They say, how are you selling these mats? Yes, how much? And we started selling the mats. So every day when we go there, we don't go around asking people if they want the mats. We just roll the mat, bath towel, we just lie like we're enjoying ourselves at the beach. And the white people just come and buy the mats. Dan came to pick us up. How many mats have you sold? We tell him. And he's like, wow, you guys are selling. But he's seeing that now we're becoming happy. Now what we're doing now, we are not selling the mats at the price that Dan has given us. We have added a little bit of money. Now we have started making money for ourselves. Now the mistake we did when we came to the house, we tell those guys and then say, you know what we're doing? We are adding a little bit and then we are making some money. So we are like scoring. So these guys, I don't know whether they got jealous or what. They told Dan, they said, Dan, you know that these guys at the beach, they're making money. Hey, Danny was very, very upset. These guys are making money. So one day, we just see Dan come in and he said, Ted, he picked me up at the caravan at his sister's place. He says, take all your bags. You must take them with. So I take my bags, came to the shop. He says, you take your bags, and then you're going to be staying with Charles. You're no longer going to stay at the caravan. You'll be staying with Charles. He puts us in the tent. And from day to day onwards, you and Charles, you're no longer going to the beach. I was very miserable. And then he left me at the shop and he says, you're also not going to work in the shop. You are going to be picking up cigarettes and cleaning outside. He started making me to pick cigarette butts outside there. Hey, I was very, very miserable. One, I'm not doing a job that was much better to work in the office. Now I'm picking up cigarette butts with Charles. Charles is the guy who's like sandpapering all things and stuff. And now we're no longer going to the beach where we were like relaxing there, because some of the people there, they started getting used to us. Those two black guys, we don't know where they come from, but they look like they're cool. They come to the beach, they just relax there. And then I was very, very miserable with Dan. So that was the end of me having fun at Dan's place. Life started becoming very, very difficult. Dan took my passport. Maybe he thought that maybe I would run away. Now I don't have a passport, and Dan is not treating me well anymore. He's not paying me enough money. He just gives me now money for me to be like, he says, now I'll be keeping your money. He's now keeping my money. And when we went the next time to go and extend again my days at the Home Affairs, we are not talking in his car. His wife, they're not friendly anymore. It was very, very miserable for me. I said, no, life is going to be difficult. Now I see that it's like 40 minutes that I've been talking. I think I should stop there to leave you in suspense, not tell you what happened after that, so that you can be able to come for the next podcast. I don't know whether I must call it podcast. And then we continue with this story. But yes, life started becoming very difficult for me in Plettenberg Bay. I wasn't enjoying that much in Plettenberg Bay because Dan had changed his colors and started making life difficult for me and Charles. He took away my passport, so I couldn't leave him. I couldn't go anywhere. I had no passport that I can use for me to go somewhere else. And to make matters worse, it was Plettenberg Bay. I didn't know nobody. I tried to look around to see if there were any Malawians. I couldn't find any Malawian in that place. So it was very miserable. But at least I had a fellow Malawian to be able to chat with, and then life was going on. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss as I continue telling you my story in South Africa. So this is the story of my life. The young man who ran away from home seeking for greener pasture in South Africa found himself in Plettenberg Bay having a hard time. So don't miss the next one. And please share this video. Also comment there. Tell me what you think about this. Thank you very much.